again. So here we are again. It is nice for me to be here sharing with you this morning, this noon. As you know, my name is Christian Chavarría. I am a member of the Lutheran Church in El Salvador since I was 12 years old. I came to the Lutheran Church in a very difficult time when it was the civil war in my country, and we were persecuted by the military of El Salvador. And when I saw the ministry of the Lutheran Church, I thought, I like this church, and I want to be a part of this church. And I decided to make my confirmation with the Lutherans. So since that, I have been Lutheran. I come from the north part of El Salvador. I left my birthplace when I was 4.5 years old, when the soldiers came and massacred our family there. So we were obligated to leave the country and left the country, and we came to Honduras and become refugees in Honduras. And we were refugees there for around 7 years until we returned to El Salvador in 1987. So, and the civil war was really strong during that time. And my family was a part of the guerrilla, the one who fought against the government in El Salvador. We had this civil war there because we were demanding from the state, from the government, right for education, for health care, for food, for a better health system in El Salvador. But the answer of the government was the repression, the bombs trying to kill us. And in this process of the civil war, the United States did a lot of things in my country too. So the government of the United States was helping the government in El Salvador. So we were told when we were small kids that the United States was a very evil nation because they were always trying to, or helping the regimes in our countries to kill us. And we didn't understand because we were children. How could we understand that somebody wants to kill us? Anyway, when we came back, our mission was to go out to the forest and find the bodies of the soldiers and bodies of the guerrillas who has been killed, and we took away all his belongings and hide them and told to the parents, to the adults where they were, so that they could come and pick it up and give them to the guerrilla. That was very usual for us, for me, to see bodies, destroy bodies, and to take away their things. It was like, now when I think about this, I feel that I had no feelings in that time. And that can be true because my whole time in my childhood was a really cruel time, has something to do with death, with murders, so with bombs. So I don't think I had feelings in that time. But when I was 12, I joined the guerrilla, and then I asked my mom. 1 year later, I asked my mom, I don't want to be here because I know they will kill me, the soldiers will kill me. But I was a child. I didn't know so much about weapons or things like that. So I left the guerrilla when I was 13 years, and then I asked my mom that I wanted to study because I want to be somebody else, and I understood that the violence will not take me anywhere, and I want to build a different world, and that's not with a weapon. So my mom say, but what do you think that you can do? And I say, well, I want to study. And then my mom say, study? You can't study because that's for the rich people. They have money to pay school, and we don't have money to pay school for you. So you have to work with your dad in the fields, planting corns and beans. And I say, no, I want to be a lawyer because I wanted, in my idea as a child was, I will put in jail all the people who has been doing evil or bad things in our country. So my idea and my dream was to be a lawyer, but it was not possible. And then I moved to San Salvador. San Salvador, the city of the capital of El Salvador, and I started to work when I was 13. I worked in a supermarket. I was the one who packed the things for the people who comes to buy things. And I got tips because I was really nice with the people. And with these tips, I paid the school for me. And I was in that way working, but I met a pastor of the Lutheran Church, and he invited me to come to the church. And I say, I can't do that because I have to work. And I work from Sunday to Sunday. And one day he came and said, Christian, I want to offer you a job. And I say, wow, a job. How much will you pay for that? And he told me, and I decided to work with them. Because when I was a refugee child in Honduras, I learned to paint. I am a painter. As you see here, this is one of the crosses I have painted. So the church wanted me to make crosses for them. So they gave the crosses for like a gift for people that visit them in El Salvador. So I got that job in the Lutheran Church, and that was when I met the Lutheran Church, and that experience changed my whole life. But when I was 15 years old, I was threatened. There was somebody who wanted to kill me and was threatening me. So my family was obligated to send me out from El Salvador, and they decided to send me to Sweden. So when I was 15, I became again a refugee child in a foreign country, and that was Sweden, very different than El Salvador. So I usually say when I came to Sweden was like to came into a big refrigerator because it was really cold. You can't. Well, I think you can imagine how cold it was compared with El Salvador. But I was very alone there. I had nobody with me, and I realized after my trip, after 3 days, I came to Sweden. I realized how far away I am from my family. And I just sat at the airport waiting for the police to take me to a refugee camp. I was crying because I felt alone. And then I started in Sweden to learn the language because somebody told me, if you are here, you have to learn the language. And so if you want to come into the Swedish society, you have to learn the language. So I started to study the language, Swedish. And that took 1,104 hours to learn the language. And then I started to study more and more. But then 3 years later, the government or the authorities in Sweden tell me that I have to leave and send me back to El Salvador because they wanted to unite me with my family because I came to Sweden when I was a teenager. And then I came down to El Salvador and I say to the bishop, I am here and I want to work with the Lutheran Church. And the bishop said, that's good, but we have no money to pay you. So, but I became a volunteer in the Lutheran Church, and I was working with the kids, with children, and with the youth. And the time was passing, and I could never study because I had no money to study. I finished my high school in El Salvador, but then I had no money to study at the university. It's pretty expensive in El Salvador to study. So then I was working with the church. The church has different groups in that time that works with the people that become affected by hurricanes, by earthquakes, or by another natural thing that happened in my country. We have a very interesting country. We have earthquakes, we have volcano eruptions, we have hurricanes, we have gangs, we have a lot of things. So that we have to work. And in 2001, we had two big earthquakes in 1 month. So we were sent to work with the communities that were affected of the earthquakes. In that time, I discovered what I wanted to be. But I wanted to serve my people in El Salvador, but I didn't know how, because I never dreamed that I wanted to be a pastor. Our bishop told me sometimes study theology so that you can be a pastor, and I say, no, I don't want to be a pastor. So, but then I discovered in my experience talking to the people that I just wanted to help the people in my country, and in which way. But the church gave me the path to serve my people. So I started years later to study theology, and finally I became a pastor. And I have been working now since almost 9 years in a community, 1.5 hours outside San Salvador, in a new Lutheran mission there. So, and I am really happy to serve in that community. So the church has always made a very nice gospel and prophetic way, has been in a very prophetic way in our country, denouncing the evil of the authorities in my country, but also announces the good news of God's kingdom. And that's the church has been a voice for the people who has not a voice in El Salvador. And because that, even the church has been threatened, even the church has been bombed. Our church twice were bombed during the Civil War, because the church was helping the refugees in my country. So for the government, the church was in the side of the enemy, so they put bombs in our church. And they also kidnapped our bishop, but thanks God, they let him, and with the pressure of people outside El Salvador, the government let the bishop free. The church has been all this time, all this year, fighting for the human right in El Salvador. Still now, the church is fighting for the water right for everyone, clean water for the people, and still the claim is not being heard by the authorities, because the water is going to be privatized, and we hope that that will not happen. But it looks like that will be like this. And situation will be more difficult for my country. Like I was reading yesterday in the morning, the government in El Salvador changed the constitution. In my country, the period of the president is just for 5 years can be a president, and then after that we change the president. But now there is not possibility to re-elect a president, but yesterday they changed the constitution, and the president can be re-elected so many times he wants. So today, there was Friday, and yesterday, Saturday, the embassy of the United States have said that the government of the United States is condemn this decision because this is unconstitutional, and that's not democracy. So but the president is very loved by this many Salvadorian. Many Salvadorians love the president. So, but if we say also things against the president, we can be in danger, not just because the authorities, but because the followers of them. So, but we still have to work against all this evil in my country. So, the church is very involved in the social problems in my country, and this is very nice, a good thing, a blessing for us that you are walking with us in all this process. The church in El Salvador is not so old. It's just the main church, the Resurrection Lutheran Church, is next Sunday. In 2 Sundays is turning 49 years old. So it's not so old church, but has done a huge work for the human rights in my country. The voice of the bishop has been really respected in the country. Bishop Gomez is really known because his work against the violence in my country, against the violence of the human right. He has always been the voice for the one who has no voice in my country. So, but now it's also a process inside the church. We are going through a process of the trespassing, I don't know how you say. Our bishop is getting old, and he needs somebody who can take over, and the church is going through this now in a very democracy way, and we hope also in this process you are with us, you are accompanying us, praying for us. So the other thing is what I wanted to tell you is that through this life inside the Lutheran Church, I have gone through very nice experiences. I have been threatened. I come from a very poor family in El Salvador. I think I had my first shoes when I was 8 years old. So, and for me to have this life that I can travel, that I have a good life in my country, it's just a miracle. In 2016, the Lutheran World Federation asked me to make a special cross for the commemoration of the 500 years of the Reformation. And that was together with the Vatican. So they asked me to do this cross, and that was for me something that I did not believe. And they say, we want you to make a special cross so we can have that in our service for the 500 years of Reformation. But I didn't realize that how huge that will be, how important thing that will be. So I say, I can make some samples, and I will send you the samples of the crosses. And if you like them, that's fine. If you don't, that's also fine. So I make the first sample, and I send the pictures to them, and then say, that's a beautiful cross. That's pretty beautiful, but, it's too strong, the message. And we don't want to offend anybody, because the cross will be seen by many people around the world. And I was thinking, around the world, how can that be? Okay, I made another one, and then I send the pictures to them, and then they say, oh, that's pretty, but, okay, there was another but there. Okay, I made the third one, and I think this is the third one. Oh, no. Yeah, no, this is the second one. This is the second one. Because when I sent the pictures of this, they saw something that they thought that was too strong. It was a very strong message for our other religions, because or maybe it was the third. I think it's the third, the last one. This is the last one. And they say, when I send this to them, they say, that looks beautiful. That looks beautiful, and we want that, but there was something that I had to take away. So I took it away, and so the cross is a little bit different, the one they use, but this was the last one. In the first one, what I did was I put the people around the table and Jesus in the middle, because I think as Christian, everyone is invited to be in the same table, to be in the banquet of Jesus, where he offered himself as the food for the life of everyone, for the believers. So, but they thought that the Catholics and the Lutherans are not together. They are not sitting together. They are not sharing the table yet. But that's the hope. That's the hope, to get there together. Okay, then I did take away the people sitting, and this is the third one, yeah, because everyone is coming to the table, not sitting to the table, but they are coming there. So, and finally, I made the cross, 2 meters high cross, 35 pounds, the cross, and I sent it to Sweden. And then I was invited to participate there. So, and when I came, until I came to Sweden, I understood how important that cross was. I saw the cross everywhere, in everything they were using, and every book, and even the scanners of the main entrances where you have to come. That was the design of the cross. And I was like, what, did I make it? So, and there was very important people there. The king and the queen from Sweden, the ministers and bishop, archbishop from different countries, and the pope was there. So I just thanked God when I saw I don't know if you saw the joint Catholic Lutheran mass or worship in a big cathedral, very old cathedral, and the music started, and the cross was leading the procession, and everything is dark there, and the cross with so many colors. I just wanted to cry and see how God can transform the life of everyone, because every child is loved by God, and God is taking care of that, of him or she, of her. So there was an Italian archbishop here beside me, and in front of me was a nun. I don't remember where she was from, but she was more excited than me. And she said, your cross is coming. And I just wanted to cry, just when I saw the cross and coming into the altar there. So that was a gift, not just from me, but from my country, a country that is pretty low because the violence. People usually say that El Salvador is the most dangerous country in the world, but that's actually not true. We also create good things in my country for the humanity, not just violence. And that's my work as a pastor in my community, to get the youth to be interested for their country, our children be lovers of their country, and not just think, I want to go to the United States. I want to leave my country and go to the United States and make money there and live there. I want the people stay in El Salvador, but I also want to create opportunities for them. So in my community now, we have a scholarship program paying the university for them so they can become professional persons and they can do something for the development of the society in my country. And so they can find a job and they can survive and they can stay in my country, not just fleeing to the United States. We want the people to stay there, to love their country, and to love their country and work for their people. Because if we just are exporting minds, exporting people to the States or to other countries who will work for my country, we have to stay and we have to work there. And that's one of the challenge of the church, to make the people stay there. So that's a little thing of my church, of my life. But I also would like you to make some questions about whatever you want to know. Yeah. Yes. Spanish is my first language. Swedish is my second language. English is my third language, and German my fourth language. So that's something amazing, because you can communicate with everyone. So, and I would like to learn more languages, but I have no time. Yes. Yes. El Salvador is the first country in the world. Okay, that El Salvador is adopting Bitcoin as a legal currency in my country. So El Salvador has become the first country in the world to accept the Bitcoin as a legal currency, and that will be from the September the 7th. So that's something that just the government decide, and that has been criticized by the whole society. But the people is thinking or expecting that the government is doing well, so they think the decision will be a good thing for everyone in El Salvador. But we don't know either. We don't know yet. So we have not been very informed about this currency, about this thing. So we don't know where we are going to. I think we have to wait, because that's just the only one decision of the government that the people is against to. But there is something like an imposition of the government for my country, and that happened before in 2001 when the government decided to have the US dollar as our currency. So they didn't ask the people, they just made the decision, and they approved the decision in the Congress, and they put the dollar as a normal currency in my country. So that same thing now with the big Bitcoin, and we don't know so much about that because that is a very volatile, I don't know how you say this, a currency, and we don't know how it will behave now when we adopt this in El Salvador. So that's something that we are very careful of. Yep. Yep.
And I've seen pictures of your church. It looks like there are lots of children. Are there lots of children in the Salvadoran church? And are the churches growing?
Well, yeah. She said that she has seen some pictures of children in my congregation, in my church. Her question is if in El Salvador, in the churches are many children, or if the churches are growing. Yeah. Well, it depends. In some areas, the church is growing. In some areas, the church has been losing members because the pandemic, because the violence. Many churches lost many members because the violence. The gang violence has been obligating people to leave the country. And sometimes the parish is in a neighborhood that the people from the other neighborhood can't cross the street because one neighborhood is controlled by a gang and the other neighborhood is controlled by the other gang. So the people can't trespass the limit, because if you live in this side and you go to that side and the gangs find you, they kill you. But in my community, for example, there is a lot of children. I have a group of 27 or 32. That's the amount of the children in my congregation. So I think it depends the work of the pastor, how he is working with children. But you have to be very passionate to work with children, and you have to find a way to keep them busy because they have a lot of energy. But that's good. We have a very nice group in my church. So in this year of the pandemic, the kids did not go to school, so they have nothing to do, and we don't want them to go to join again, for example. So we created in the church a music program at church. The kids could come to learn to play keyboard, guitars, or violin. Violin? Yes. They could come to learn. So they are learning our guitar. They are learning guitar. They are learning keyboard. They are learning violin. So we have a group of students learning music of 23 kids. And the rest of the kids, they want to sing. We are making a choir too with the kids. So I have been sending videos to Sue, our children, how they sing. And we have to stimulate our kids, our children, so they can become lovers of the church too. And they love the church because they are learning to love the church, And that's pretty weird that in the rural area, in the high in the mountains, up there in the hills, they have a music program. This is normally maybe in the cities, but not there. So for them, are really interested in very interesting to be there learning music. So and we have to work in that way to keep them in a good life, so they don't go to join the gangs. That's one of the ways that we have to work with the kids. Yeah. And the transition? Yes. As I told you, the church has gone into a process of transition, and the national board has elect a group of selected people, so they will recommend the church how they will elect a new bishop for the Lutheran Church in El Salvador. The first meeting was in May the 11th, and they told us how the process will be. So they are now discussing all this thing, but they also told us that in 15 months we will have a new leader for the church in El Salvador. So that means in August next year, maybe we will have a new bishop in El Salvador. Yeah. Yes, in time for the next encuentro. Yes. We will see. We don't know. With these difficult times, we don't know how things change, but that's the plan. That's the plan. It depends. For example, for the university, the most cheap university is $65 a month for any degree you wanna study. But for example, there are universities that cost more than $1,000 a month, or there are some that cost $500. There are some that cost $200, and in that way. But if you want to study, the national school education system is free until high school. Now it's free until high school, but after that, you have to, if you want to study the university, you have to have the money to pay the university, or you have to get a scholarship. For example, the thing is, in my country are a lot of private schools, because the public education system is really weak and poor, and the people doesn't learn too much, and the government is not investing money on the education on the national education. So this is why the people send their kids to private schools. But now the new government is saying that they will give a computer to every student in the national schools. So many of the private school lost their students because they are going to the national schools right now, but that's a promise. They still have not get the computer, and now it's 2.5 years of the government, but still they don't have the computer. But they, like the Lutheran school, lost the half of the students because of that. The Lutheran school can't give them to every student a computer, but the education is better because they have a separated plan from the national system. So we don't know how it will develop, but that's the amount, around the amount we need. Like we can say, to educate a person in the university or a college, what they need is $150 a month. With this, he or she can pay her studies at the university. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the average salary for the Salvadorian right now, that will change in, I think, in 1 month. But right now it's $315 a month. It will change for I think $345 a month soon. But right now it's $315 a month. Yes, there is endowment fund created, I think, in Milwaukee by the ELCA to help the pastors in El Salvador, but half of the pastors in my church, we don't have a salary. We are volunteer pastors. So I was telling Trey that sometimes for me it's difficult to go to the community because I have to pay the gas for my car to go to the community by my own money, and not the money. The church doesn't give me money to pay the gas to visit the community. And that's because the church is not like you here in the U.S. I see the church, you have a beautiful church, you have everything you need, but we are very different in El Salvador. The church is not like this. I have been working many years to build the main church in El Salvador because the main church was just a house. It was just a house, and I told the bishop, when I grow up, I will build the church. And then I was getting too old, and I didn't build the church. So I was in hurry, and I wanted to build the church. So I started raise program to raise money to build the Resurrection Church, and now it's almost done. The church is almost done, and that's very beautiful. It looks beautiful. But all the churches, all the Lutheran churches around the country, they don't look like that. So they look like a house, and the people meet there and celebrate and worship there. But because we don't have the money to build the churches, I saw your local here, your place there, where we will have lunch. Beautiful place. Sue thinks it's too old, but I think it's very nice. We don't have a Resurrection Church, a place to meet. For example, if we will have a meeting, we take the pews away from the church and we put the tables inside the sanctuary because we don't have a place to have the meetings. So the church has no resources to pay a salary for a pastor, for pastors. So we are working as a volunteers. We have other jobs, like I am a painter. I paint crosses. I have been painting crosses for many years. And I also run a guest house, but the guest house has been bad the last 2 years because no people come to visit El Salvador. And my work also of the crosses has been quite bad because the pandemic, and I understand that. So that's my work, and I live of that. but I don't make money being a pastor.
Put in perspective the average wage. When I was there, I noticed the gas prices, dollars per gallon, was almost up to California standards. It was quite expensive.
Yeah.
And the same with food in the supermarkets.
Oh, yeah. El Salvador is a very expensive country, actually. The problem is that we have prices in dollars, but we have the salary in the foreign currency of my country. So if you make $315 a month, but then you go to the supermarket, that money is not enough for 1 month of your food, and the people has to pay electricity, water, and the rent of the house. So this is why many people is living a day with $1 a day. So and that's a pretty difficult situation. The gas is pretty expensive right now. It's $4.90 or $4.75, something like that. Like here, yeah. Yeah. So, for example, I usually go to my community 2 days a week, Thursday and Friday, but I decide not to go Fridays because on Thursday I visit people and I worship with the people. And Friday I attend the children. I have Bible studies with children, but then to go every Thursday and every Friday to the community, that means $80 a week, $80 that the church doesn't help me. So I decide not to go on Fridays. And I'm really sad for that because we have to attend the kids, the children. And so, but what I do is I let some people from the community to be with the kids and have the Bible studies with the children. But it's very important also that the pastor is there accompanying the development of the children. But I decide not to go because it's too much money for me to spend $80 every week. That's a lot of money for me, and I'm not making money from my work now, so it's a little bit difficult. But that's the reality. So that we have to adapt our time to the times. How much? It depends where people live. For example, maybe you wonder a student. If a student from the rural area, they have to move to the cities because the universities are on the city. So a student can pay for the rent $250 a small room, $250 a month. Yeah. And then plus the money they have to pay at the university. Any more questions? Or are we hungry already? Okay, if there is no more question, I can say thank you for your time. Thank you for inviting me to be here with you and share with you. And I hope it will not be the last time I am here. So thank you for the welcoming. And I hope you can visit us someday in El Salvador too. Thank you.